RowdCAST contains adult languages, adult themes, and adult situations. Viewer discretion is advised.
No! No! No!
This is the RowdCAST. It's where I talk about what I want, when I want, however the fuck I want, and you can't do nothing about it, because this is the goddamn internet.
What the fuck is the internet?
First of all, dude, you don't have an ex. Secondly, this is a fucking show dog with fucking papers. You can't board it, it gets upset. Its hair falls out. Walter, fucking dog has fucking papers. Over the line!
Fuck it, I'm about to graduate. You should be sucking on my ball sack.
Oh man, that's cold! I'm a maniac on the floor, and I'm dancing like I've never danced before.
You are now entering the RowdCAST, an online internet radio show brought to you weekly by me, your host, Rowdy Radloff, coming live from Bellevue, Ohio. Buckle up. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. Hey, fuck faces. What's up? How you doing? Welcome back to your favorite and my favorite online radio fucking podcast. Coming live from motherfucking Toledo, Ohio. Brand new studio. We've started a new studio. We're in it. I'm in it. We're coming live from it right now. It's 8 p.m. It's Friday, May 7th. And I got a brand new show for you. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. If this isn't your first time, which I'm sure for a lot of you it's not, welcome back to the show. It doesn't stop. It's only going to continue to get better. So you're with me for the next hour at least, and I am fucking talking about some shit. We got some fucking very interesting fucking topics to talk about. I mean, by far. So, what's been up? And I'm trying to pick up more listeners. I got a good following, but this can never get too big. I do this for free. I enjoy it. I pay, my monthly speaker fee. I got us on iTunes, got us on YouTube. So, I'm going to continue to just keep rolling these fucking things out and, continue to have awesome guests, and I got new equipment coming. I'll have a mixer and really quality microphones, and I'm gonna get nice speakers, and we're gonna get the studio set up really awesome. I talked the woman into allowing me to have my own studio room inside the new place, and I'm really fucking excited to see how things are gonna go. So if you are joining me right now, live on Spreaker.com, we have a live chat going. If you go down in that little chat and you want to talk to me while I'm on the show, you want to put your 2 cents in, you can, and I'll definitely respond with you. I enjoy responding and talking with people and hearing people's feedback and debating with people and hearing people's nonsense. I like a good fucking joke just as much as the next person, so let's have fun. This is a party, so we're going to continue to make this a motherfucking party. So, anyway, to start this shit off, what I was getting into, lately I've been, in a way you could say I've been beating it to death. The Baltimore riots, all the crazy shit that's been going on there. I feel like I've talked about it so much that I'm blue in the face, and that's what you hear on the regular media. You know, you can turn on CNN or fucking that god awful Fox News, and you can hear the same thing that I've been hollering about. You know, corrupt cops and police brutality, and you know, the riots and the craziness that's going on, and I mean, maybe down the road there will be more time to talk about that, but as of right now, you know, that stuff, the police brutality shit, that's shit I've been talking about for over a year now on this show. So the kind of shit that's been happening and we've been seeing more of, it doesn't surprise me at all. And I think to bring it up is okay, but to talk about it as much as I have been, I don't think it's okay, because that's what the RowdCAST is alternate media. You know, I don't want it to be the same outlet you get when you watch the regular news. You know, it never was before. You know, we talk about things that aren't in the news, and I think that's what makes my show what it is, and that's why people listen, and that's why I have the following that I do. You know, I'm also live tonight, so you know, we are live. I have the Skype open. Skype is live. And if during the show, I have a brand new Skype username. It's the RowdCAST, and you can call while we're on the show. You can call in, and we'll have you on Skype, and we'll have you live talking with us. So, you know, that's exciting, and I encourage everybody, you know, anybody that wants to say anything or be a part of this can call in. And I've been reaching out to other forums and putting the links on other forums to get new people listening, new people to call in, new people to talk. So I'm excited about that. You know, one thing that I want to talk about, you know, something that's off topic, something that's not being talked about, and something I've been researching a lot lately, that's kind of getting under my skin, and I don't know if we exactly know all about it, and it's definitely something that's not in the media and not talked about very much, is the way that our prison systems are set up. Now, we have a very, very weird prison system. I mean, we know that, I mean, the reason half of our prisons are full are from, I mean, not half of them, but I mean, half the people that are in prisons are there for nonviolent crimes and you know, possibly shouldn't even be there in the first place, especially with marijuana use and drug use. You know, instead of rehabbing these people and getting them the help that they need, we slam them in a fucking cell and we shut the door and we lock them away. And we've been doing that for a long time. And now that people are kind of seeing the truth and weed's getting a little bit more legalized, and people are the Americans are speaking their voice, and people are speaking their mind and getting that out there, you know, we're changing our views. We're starting to think, well, all these people that are locked up, you know, for no good reason, maybe they should be let out. You know, we don't rehab them at all. We just lock them away. So when they get out, they continue to do the same thing. You know, people with serious drug problems that were stealing and robbing people and doing that, we're not fixing the problem. And that's kind of what the prison is supposed to be. It's a punishment, but it should also rehab the individuals that are there. And that's not going on. That's not happening at all. And I think that's a serious fucking problem that we have going on. And it goes way beyond that, beyond the weed charges and that kind of stuff. You know, not only are we not helping these people out or not trying to change their life for the better at all, we're also, you know, we've turned it into a business. Our prison systems are a business now. There's a private company that owns our prison systems that works with the U.S. government, and they make a profit off of putting people in jail. And that right there should be a fucking red flag that something's going on that's not correct. I mean, that to me just fucking blows my goddamn mind. Like a lot of things blow my fucking goddamn mind, like a fucking volcano. You know, you got these. Give me 1 second. I'm checking something out. But what I'm getting at is we've turned it into a business, and that what I was looking for is the name of this. The CCA, Corrections Corporations of America. They're a huge fucking profitable business that is making billions of dollars. Maybe they've made like $7 billion off of putting people in jail and enslaving people. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. They're taking people, they're putting them in jail, and they're making money off of that. Not only are they making money just by housing them and putting them there, they're making money off of everything that the prisoners do. They've almost turned into I mean, they're not concentration camps because they're not, murdering them, but they're definitely slave camps. They're work camps. And a lot of people will say, well, they're fucking prisoners. They deserve to fucking work and do whatever the fuck we tell them to do. I mean, that's a good way of looking at it. But, I mean, we have it to the point where they take these people and they make them work all day, 8-hour days for $1.20 or $1.30. They pay them a day. I think it was $1.30. I think what they used to make was $1.20. They used to make $1.20, and now that, I mean, this was 20 years ago that they used to make $1.20 in a day. Now they make $1.30. They make 10 cents more in 20 years, and that's okay. That's all good. Yeah, they should put them to work, whatever, and give them some kind of money. But what we don't hear and what we don't quite understand is that they're working for businesses. There's big businesses and corporations that are making profits off of their work, which to me I think is fucked up. There's companies like Starbucks and Wendy's. They're making like cups and goods and goods and things that these businesses use. They're not getting any share of that. They work forever. They work 8-hour, 10-hour days. They don't get any money. They get $1.30. They make none of that. They get nothing back from it. They get no Social Security. They have, they work for free. I mean, pretty much. I mean, it's not free, but it's as fucking minimum as possible that you could be paid. And I mean, to me, that's just fucking insane. That's ludicrous. All these companies, I mean, that's what it's a cash cow. The money's flowing. These businesses are fucking getting rich, and our prisoners are getting nothing. I mean, they're being enslaved. And like I said, a lot of people would think they're prisoners. Fuck them. They belong in there. But if you look at, like I said, half of our prisoners that are in our prison systems are there for nonviolent crimes and probably shouldn't be in prison, then you're looking at free labor. You're not looking, a lot of people shouldn't be there, so they're working for free and they're being enslaved for free. And what it goes into, listen, it's not just, okay, yeah, they're making money for, like I said, McDonald's, Wendy's, Starbucks, there's other companies, other goods and services that they're helping out, but this is where it gets good. They, not only are they making these motherfuckers money, they're being charged and taxed on everything that they need. So if you get sick in prison and you have to go see a doctor, you got to pay for that fucking doctor. And it's not cheap. You could spend a couple $100 to go see a doctor, and then he writes you medications, and you got to get those medications. You got to pay for those too. Nothing's free. Just to work, just to have shoes, you got to buy shoes through the prison system that are $45, $50 a piece. You have to pay for that out of your pocket. So yeah, you got to work. But when you're making $1.30 a day, there's no way you can afford all this. So you can't get sick. You have to buy clothes, and you have to buy. People can put money on your books and give you money, but it's still not enough to cover what you're doing. So, say you get really sick and you go into debt, and you have to, you can't afford the money to pay. Well, guess what? They'll give you a loan. They'll loan you fucking money to make sure you pay. And we have prisoners that take out so much money that they become in debt. And then they're free to, when they leave prison, they owe a debt to the prison system, to this CCA. They have to pay it back. And if they can't make payments and they can't pay it back, they can't get a job and pay it when they're out of prison, they get put back in prison. So it's kind of a fucking loop-de-loop that's going on that it just kind of makes you scratch your head and you say, are you fucking serious? Is this really fucking going on? You have to, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You're paying for everything that you do. You can't, you have to live. You have to sustain your life. So everything is a fee. They charge everything. They charge out the ass, and it's not cheap. They're charging expensive fees, and they're not paying these guys enough money to pay for it. So they all they do is dig you into a hole financially to make more money off of you. I mean, how fucking crazy is that? I mean, you think about that. I mean, and like I said, a lot of people say they're prisoners. Fuck them. What do they need to come out of prison and be in debt like the rest of us already are? All the people that are outside, we're in debt too. Credit cards, school loans, fucking home loans, foreclosures on your house, auto loans, getting your car repossessed, student loans that ruin your credit so you can't ever do anything with your life, even if you try to go to school and now you can't pay the school loans even after you've graduated. So what do you do? You know, we have this. It's not just. I mean, it's the prison system that is fucked up, but our whole financial outlook that we have is fucked up. I mean, it's amazing that more people aren't in debt. I mean, already there's tons of people that are fucking in debt, but it could be way, way fucking worse. I mean, and that's, you know, they say now they're trying to help people out and get them out of debt, or, you know, there's all kinds of, they give you breaks for you know, they give you all kinds of breaks and shit now to get out of your student loans. Guess what? I don't get out of my fucking student loans. I've tried. I'm fucking swimming in debt. I owe $70,000 in student loans. I went to school for 3 years to just a state university. You know, probably, you know, an hour, not even 20 minutes down the road from where I'm at now. I went to this university. It was $16,000 a year, a semester. That was for 12 credit hours. That was roughly 3 or 4 courses a semester, and that for the year. So $8,000 a semester for 3 classes, 4 classes. And I mean, and it's the same thing. You go there, you can't afford to, I mean, that's just for courses for the $16,000. Oh, but then you got to have housing. You got to pay to stay somewhere. So you got to take take more money out. They'll loan you more money. They'll loan you almost as much money, especially when you're 18 out of high school. They'll loan you all the money you want. You know, they'll give you a blank check pretty much. You tell them how much you need and they'll fucking write you the check. I mean, that's how it goes. So you got to pay for your room and board. Well, you know, unless you're working, you pretty much you're forced to get a job. You have to work. You got to go to school and work. I mean, that's the times we live in right now. So you got to pick up. You know, you can't just pick up a part-time 10 to 20 hours a week. That's not enough to eat off of and live off of. That's, you know, you can't. So you got to work at least 30 to 40 hours a week. That's on top of your courses. And I mean, for any person, that's fucking hard. And yes, does that make you more of an adult and make you carry pretty much get you ready for the real world and how it is. It's a burden, you know, a financial burden and how to struggle and make ends meet and just scrape by every week. I mean, that's pretty much what we all do. I mean, that's what America is now. You know, unless, you know, we're fortunate enough to go to school long enough to you know, even I have a cousin that he got his doctorate in child psychology and he's over, I think he owes like $120,000 in student loans. I mean, yeah, he went to school for 7 to 9 years, but he's, I mean, $120,000 and he's just finally getting to start off and start making some money. It's like, you know, I mean, a giant chunk of what he makes in his whole life, he's going to be paying loans pretty much until he's 60, 70 years old. But you want to look at it. Hopefully you're making enough that it doesn't matter. You can still make your payments and you can still live. And someone like that, where he's going to be a child psychologist, yeah, he should be okay. He should be. For the rest of us that aren't, doctors and lawyers and psychologists, and it's not as easy. You have so many, especially my generation. We're starting to fade out now. I feel like I'm still young, but I'm not. So I'm not as young as I thought I was. I'm starting to say now there's a new generation. I'm the old I'm one of the older generations, but people in my generation are the people that we were all told that we needed to go to school, and we did, and now we're in a giant hole. I know handfuls of people that did graduate. I didn't graduate. I made my own mistakes and own flaws and started another job and started making good money and thought, hey, I don't need fucking school, and I'm going to, I'll pay those loans back someday. And now that someday's come. So I'm starting to pay them back, and it's a pain in my dick. I'll tell you that right now. But there's so many people that were in my class and graduated when I should have graduated, and people that I know that are my age that graduated with that degree and they sit on it. I know a kid that graduated with education major to be a teacher, wants to be a high school teacher. Great kid, smart guy, fucking should for no reason have a teaching job. He works at a factory. He's worked at a factory for the last 2 to 3 years, just working at a plastics factory, making molds. That's what he does. And he graduated from high school or from college, and he probably owes as much as I do, $70,000 worth of student loans. And working that job, is that what he wanted to do? Is that the American dream? Is that what he went to school for? Fuck no, dude. Not at all. It's just, and he's not the only one. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that graduate and they end up doing something they didn't ever want to do in their whole life. Me, doing something I never thought I'd do in my whole life. I went to school for web design and interactive media, and I was great. I was really good at what I did. But, going to school and going, following their system and taking all these courses that had nothing to relate to web design and computers and stuff, I got bored. I got burned out. I didn't want to do it. I got to the point where I just didn't even, the schooling, it got so annoying and so repetitive of not doing anything web design related that, I started taking semesters off. I started, working. I thought, making money is better than, learning and getting experience at a job, and making money is better than any of this bullshit that I'm fucking learning. I'm not learning anything, Yeah, it made me better at debate, and it made me more of a experienced individual of, some of the different courses I take. And I had to take solar system. I went for fucking 2.5 hours a day, and I think it was almost 3. I think it was a 3-hour course. Might have been. It was 2-3 hours a day, and I sat in a planetarium, and the seats tilted back. They're reclinable seats. They tilt back, and I was in a planetarium, and the lady talked about the stars and different star alignments and constellations and different planets and I could tell you the atmosphere of fucking Venus. What's percentage of nitrogen it's made? It's fucking like 2% nitrogen and 10% sulfur, and this is the kind of shit I was learning. What it takes to leave the atmosphere, and how much pounds of pressure and fuel it takes to get into orbit, and most people in that class slept. It was a perfect nap. Fucking recline back, they turned the lights off or dimmed the lights down, and they showed you stars and star patterns and rotations of the planets and shit. That was one of the classes that I took for college. That, if you average that course cost me $4,000. $4,000 to fucking sit in a planetarium and look at the fucking stars. That is what I paid for. And that's not the only one. I took all kinds of courses just like that. Political science. Oh, I could tell you all about fucking the Iraq government and Africa, about the Boers and how Africa, Nelson Mandela overthrew the Boers and took back Africa. I mean, this is shit that, how in the fuck did that correlate to anything that I was trying to do with my life? Nothing. So, I mean, yeah, that's a fucking tangent about bullshit, about what I went through. And, not graduating, I can never blame anyone. And I'll pay that. I'll be paying the piper until, I'm old. Hopefully now I'm making some headway, which I think I am. And I'm getting to a place where I can start chipping away and putting a dent in those loans. But my point is, everything, I mean, we know this. We all know this. This is what fucking life is. It all boils down to money. Money, money, money. And this CCA running the prisons and the government letting them, subcontracting out to this company to make money off it is just fucking outrageous. And then to know that most, most of the people, I think a majority, I'm spitting things out that may not be true, but majority of people that are in the prisons are other ethnicities. African Americans, Mexicans, Asians. There's lots of Caucasians in there too, but I think most of them are the majority. And that's what I was watching this documentary about, how many immigrants that they bring in and get them into prison. And once they're in prison, they don't leave. That's their goal, is to make you a fucking, you become part of the system. And once you become part of the system, it's so hard to break that fucking system and get you out of there. It's not a easy struggle. Once you're in, you're pretty much in for life. They'll catch you on something. They put you on parole. They put you on probation. Just wait for it. Once you're on paper with them, you can't even fart in the wrong direction. They're going to pick you up and they're going to stick you right back in that fucking cage. And I just think that's fucked up. That's something that needs to be looked at. It's something that needs to be reformed. Our prison system. And I think that there's certain candidates out there right now that are going to be running for election next year that are going to look at things like that. And I think that's fucking very, very important, because what we have going on right now is a monopoly. I mean, this is money that is fucking being tossed around, and they're just burning through dollars. It's like a fucking auction, man. The way they sell these prisoners to different, they fill one up and that one's kind of low on numbers. Let's start stuffing them in there and fucking cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. They got the money fucking symbols going, and they start rolling the dough in. They start fucking, it's like they cast the line out there, start rolling it up, and and when they pull it back, money bags around the end of the line. I just think, in no way, shape, or form is that okay, or is that right? And my biggest thing is all these people that are in there for marijuana convictions. You're putting someone in prison for fucking smoking a tree, a plant that grows in the ground. And I hear your fucking cries for coca leaves and cocaine grows in the ground too. I agree, but marijuana is nowhere near as highly addictive as cocaine is. Opium grows in the ground also. But you have all these people that, because our nation has been lied to, they've given us bullshit, and they've said this and that and this and that, and they've told us lies for so long, and the public's believed those fucking lies. They've, no doubt, we told that it makes you lazy, it makes you stupid, it makes you kill people, it makes you wreck your car, it makes you forget about your children. You'll let your children die. You won't feed your children if you smoke marijuana. You'll the list goes on and on of the bullshit that they've tried to say. Make you rape people. It's, the history goes back forever, and there's many people that spout off different reasons of why marijuana is illegal. And again, so I am live on Skype. You can Skype me right now, live on the show, and we can talk. It's the RowdCAST is the username on Skype, so feel free to call in if you're listening. But, the history goes back, and there's many different theories out there of why marijuana became illegal in the first place. One of them is that, around the turn of the century, when, Mexico, down and around the border and stuff, Mexicans were starting to come in, and illegals and that kind of shit, they'd all smoked marijuana. All the Mexicans that were around down there, around Texas and Arizona, New Mexico and stuff, they all smoked pot. That's just what they did. That was part of their culture. And we didn't like that. Nobody liked that. So we came up with this, the government, or, people in the government came up with this nice little thing that said, it said, people that smoke marijuana, they rape people and they kill people. And so we got to make hemp illegal. Hemp's got to be illegal. And you have to remember, at this time, there was lots and lots of people that used hemp for everything. We were using hemp. We were making rope out of hemp. We were making fabric out of hemp. We're making clothes. We were doing so much shit with hemp. It was pretty much a staple of society for us. There's not much things that you can't do with hemp. I mean, they say that Henry Ford made the first car. The whole paneling and everything was made out of hemp. Hemp is so strong. Hemp is like an alien plant. It's super strong. The fibers are super. It's lightweight, but yet it's so hard to break and rip. So, we weren't just using it. People weren't just using it to get high. That wasn't really the goal. Just what people were using it for. We were using it for way more than that. And but they came out with that, and they said, there's other people that say the reason it's illegal is because the DuPont family came out with nylon, the nylon rope, and we're pushing nylon. DuPonts were a huge family, a huge entrepreneur family and billionaire family in America, and responsible DuPont. The name is huge. If you know all the DuPont, all the DuPonts, are so many of them have done so much shit, corrupt and good stuff. But what they say is Henry DuPont, he came up with nylon rope, and that was also the biggest component, his biggest competitor was hemp. Nobody owns hemp. It was a plant. So guess what? They put a bunch of money in, anti-drug campaign. I think that's where Reefer Madness and shit came from. The video where the dude smoking a joint and he's laughing hysterically and he killed his girlfriend and his friends or whatever. We all know the famous movie, the black and white movie. They say that he had a lot of money to put into that and invested in that, because that was, it was time to start changing people's mind and get them to look at it, demonize the plant and demonize marijuana, because he was losing money to a plant, and they needed to get it out of the way so they could capitalize and make a gain on that money. So, no matter how you look at it, either way, that's two different ways. You pretty much look where it started, if you want to look at it that way, with the Mexicans and smoking the marijuana, and then it evolved into DuPont's trying to make money and them pushing it the rest of the way. But since that, that was the 1930s or 40s maybe, and maybe with the Reefer Madness 1950s. But since then, nothing's changed. We've went, 65 years, and we're still in the same fucking boat, man. We've grown so much. Look at what we have now. Look, if you would have fucking taken iPhone, what I'm recording the podcast on right now, if I took this fucking Apple fucking iPhone and I took it back to 1950, 1940, and I showed it to somebody, They'd think I was an alien. They'd kill me. They'd burn me at the stake. They'd think I was some kind of witch and have some kind of witchcraft, and maybe I came from the future. You know, well, of course I came from the future, but you know, they would think I came from outer space or something. They wouldn't be able to comprehend. Their mind wouldn't be able to wrap around it. They couldn't get it. How we all have internet access in the palm of our hands. How we all have video recorders in the palm of our hands. The police brutality shit that we see and all these cops are getting in trouble now is because everybody's got a video camera on them at all times. We have a camera. Who needs a Kodak? They're fucking done for because we have a camera built into our phone that takes better pictures than any Kodak camera we've ever fucking had. Who needs a fucking Polaroid anymore? I got a fucking iPhone that I can hook up to my printer and I can print the shit. We have evolved so much. Our automobiles, we're working on fucking self-driving. The cars are going to fly down the fucking road and you're going to sit there like a fucking, like in the back of a taxi, but you're in charge of the car and it's going to fly you to your destination. You know, everything's evolved so much. But when it comes to pot, we have not evolved once. We haven't evolved at all. We still have the same standpoint. We just had a fucking federal judge a couple weeks ago sit there and say they tried to remove marijuana from the class 1 tier of illegal substances and drugs, which is with heroin and fucking methamphetamines. Marijuana is up there at tier 1. They were trying to remove it because everyone, now that all these states are legalizing it, they were saying, hey, you know, maybe we should relook at this and remove it from tier 1 class. The judge still sat there and said no. She said, I can't remove it. It needs to, a Supreme Court needs to rule on that. I'm not going to be the one to do that. You know, I still feel that marijuana is a gateway drug and blah, blah, blah. It's not a fucking gateway drug. I mean, I could fucking scream about this shit until I'm blue in the face. A gateway drug is fucking alcohol is a gateway drug. Tobacco. What do you start? What do you start when you start abusing drugs? What's the first thing you do? Smoke a cigarette, drink a beer. When you drink a beer, you lose your inhibitions. You lose your fucking that thing in the back of your head that says, "Hey, probably shouldn't do that." It goes out the window. You say, "Hey, you know, I'd like to try some of that." If anything, is, you know, marijuana doesn't. You don't smoke pot and say, "Well, I smoke pot, so might as well jump down the rabbit hole. Why don't you give me fucking 5 hits of acid?" That's not how it works. It doesn't work like that. I'll testify for that. You know, and I don't even smoke marijuana like I used to. I mean, I used to be all day, every day kind of smoker, and that's not me anymore. You know, I don't. I smoke once in a great while, and I enjoy it. I see nothing wrong with it. Anyone that does still smoke daily, you know, not for me anymore. I'm too busy to fucking do that. But guess what? On the weekend when I have a couple beers, where I'm just sitting around with some friends, yeah, I like to toke a little bit and have a little smoke and sit back and relax. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm an adult, and there's no reason anybody should get in trouble for that or having. Do I say you should get in your car and drive around stoned? No. Should you be sitting there with your kids and smoking a big bong while you're watching your babies and shit? No, I don't think that. But just like anything, you need to be an adult about it. Be responsible. You drink responsible. You don't get wasted and watch your fucking babies. So you shouldn't. It's the exact same thing. Be an adult, you know, be smart, be responsible, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's crazy to me, and to think that there's so many people locked away for having a plant. Maybe they had a lot, maybe they had pounds of weed, but you know, maybe they were selling weed. Yeah, probably should get in trouble for that. Should you lock them away for 10, 15 years? There's people that are doing 15, 20 years for distribution of marijuana. I mean, if that's not insane and not fucking crazy to think of something that, you know, there's more. No one's ever died from smoking pot. Ever. They've never overdosed. There's still, you have these reports that come out, oh, this girl, she smoked a joint, laid down, and never woke up. It didn't happen. Okay, that I'm sorry, but unless you had some kind of crazy medical condition already going on in your body before you ever took that hit of marijuana, that never happened. That's fucking insane. That's blasphemy. I'll be the first person to tell you that it doesn't. There's no way. You couldn't smoke enough pot to kill yourself. You can't overdose on it. You can't. You'd fall asleep before you could smoke it all. It's a scientific fact. You know, and we have all these people now that are finally waking up. You know, people are saying, hey, you know, some people, I don't want to smoke it, but you know, there's nothing wrong with it. If somebody wants to, there's no reason they shouldn't be able to. You know, it's these older, you know, we still have these older people that are out there, and I mean that's what they feel. These old Republicans and old heads that they grew up with, they were told marijuana was a bad shit and they shouldn't be doing it, and that's how they feel. So it's almost like I believed that for my whole fucking life. I believed that pot was bad and terrible and it gets you hooked on drugs and everything they told me I believed. So now I don't want to admit that I was wrong. You know, I don't want to admit that I was an idiot, that I never really did any research, that I just kind of believed what they always told me. You know, what else? How much stuff do they tell us that we know is not true? I mean, they told us fucking Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, chemical weapons. Didn't happen. You know, how much shit have they sat there and spewed to us that we've bought and took in and believed over and over again, but it's been totally wrong. It's been false. It's been proven wrong. You know, it makes me so fucking pissed. And I don't, you know, I said 5 years ago that I hoped in my lifetime, you know, when I was in you know, almost 10 years ago now, when I was in high school, I said I would never see it in my lifetime. I would never see pot be legalized. And now I say, you know, like I said, 5 years ago, I said, well, you know what? I hope to see it in my lifetime. Now, 5 years later, I say, I think I will see it. I think we all will see it. And it's going to take a long time to go, you know, countrywide, but we're leaning and we got a lot of momentum. You know, I just seen today that another petition passed another bill for responsible marijuana laws in Ohio, where I'm located. So that, to me, you know, the ground is picking up tremendously. You know, we got medical in I think 11 to 13 states or something. We got legal, I think, in 3 states. Recreational in 3 states. I think, you know, we're getting there. We're getting on the cusp. But while you still have people that sit there and try to like demonize it and make it so evil and make it so sound such a bad thing and such a terrible thing, is what really drives me crazy, because it's lies. Don't lie. Tell the truth. Like, quit, you know, do the research and put the research. You know, that Sanjay Gupta that's on CNN's lead doctor. He's a huge doctor. You know, we've lost that. I don't know how else to. You know, he was a big. You know, he was against marijuana forever, for pretty much his whole career. And just in the last year to 6 months, he's come out and said, you know, he never really did the correct research, and he just kind of listened to what his colleagues had told him, and he believed what they had told him, and he didn't really do any research for himself or look at things or do case studies or anything like that, and he just kind of accepted it. And he's done what a lot of people have done. They just accepted it. And now he's a huge advocate. You know, he's talking. I mean, that's what all he talks about now is medical marijuana and how many good things it can do. It's not just about people getting high on it. You know, it's way farther than that. There's so many benefits to helping people out and getting people, you know, getting people okay, and helping them out, and helping children out, and helping older people out, you know, cancer patients out, and, you know, all these different things that just, we can't deny anymore. We can't deny the truth anymore. It is what it is, and I'm so sick of these old people and talking shit and not really, it's just bad because it's bad. Give me reasons, give me facts, give me things that why is it bad, who is it hurting, why is it affecting you, how is it bothering your life. If you look at what's going on in Colorado, DUIs are down, violent crimes are down, domestic violence is down, public intox drinking is they're not handing out the fines for drinking and shit like they were because people are getting stoned and chilling out and they're mellow. They don't want it. I don't want problems. I want peace, man. I just want no one to fuck with me. Leave me alone. Let me smoke my doobie and hang out and enjoy my night. It's real fucking simple. But you're always going to have assholes. There's always going to be someone that it's that way because, your parents, it is because I said it is. It's like, when you were little, why? Because I said so. Because I said so. Because I said so. That's what that's what most of these old Republicans and these old people that I think even President Obama, if it was up to him and he didn't have to fight, he already has to fight for everything that he fucking does. If he didn't have to fight all these fucking idiots, every decision that he made, I think he would somehow try to legalize it nationwide, make it decriminalized nationwide. Each state can govern themselves and make their own decisions and their laws on it, and, of how to go about it. But I think overall it should be decriminalized nationwide. You should not be able to be fined anymore for possession. As far as cultivation and shit like that, that gets a little stickier. You still have people growing it and selling it. You're still gonna have problems. That's gonna happen. But there's nothing that we can do that's gonna help that. I can't wrap my brain around why it's taking so long, and that's really what gets me is how could it go this long and people still, out of all the things that have come out and all the benefits that have come out, people still deny it. Fact after fact after fact, they deny it and they don't want to hear it. It's it's like a lot of things. It's like, did you know this or that? I don't want to know. You don't want to know. You don't want to know the facts. You don't want to know the science behind it. You don't want to know the medical reasons why it's good and it's beneficial. No, I don't smoke it. Well, that's not about you smoking it. It's about the good that it's going to do for people and the help that it's going to help people. That's truly what it comes down to. It helps more than it harms. It does has more benefits than it does defects. And like I said, someday when I stop smoking completely, I'm sure won't be long. Like I said, I enjoy it, but I'll still be a proponent. I'll still stand up and stick up for marijuana and decriminalization of it because, there's nothing that says, there's nothing I've seen in my life that makes that a poison or a super addictive. And you talk about being addictive. A lot of things can be addictive. Video games are fucking addictive. Eating food can be addictive. Exercising can be addictive. Anything can be addictive. You can abuse about anything that you do on this fucking planet. You can abuse it. It really, fucking going diving can be addictive. So to tell me that people get addicted and that's what they say now. Well, pot now is stronger than before and it makes more psychosis and you get more. Yeah, some people get paranoid. Some people, can't handle all that shit. Some people shouldn't be smoking. It's not for everybody. Some people shouldn't drink. They drink and they can't stop drinking and they have a problem. Some people can't smoke pot. You might have a problem. It's not for everybody. Some people have certain reasons why they do certain things, and it's just everybody's different. But if you're going to tell me that's the gateway drug and that's going to ruin your life and this and that, you're fucking, you better tell somebody else, because I ain't going to listen to that bullshit. You know, and like I said, what gets me what makes us go for full circle with this is I think a lot of people that are being enslaved in these prisons and being worked to death in these prisons, not worked to death, but they're getting their asses worked off, and then they get put in debt. They work every day and bust their ass, and they still are owing money at the end of the day because they got to buy stuff. Everything's a fee. All their food, I don't know about. I think they get their foods, three meals a day, and they get their bed. But as far as all your clothes you got, all your shoes, all your medicines, going to see a doctor, going to see a dentist, anything like that is all fees. You have to pay fees. And like I said, hey, they don't mind loaning you money, but guess what? You got to pay it back. And you just put yourself in debt. And I'm sure, I bet you 100% that debt, when you leave, I bet that goes on your credit score. I bet that goes on your credit report. I bet if you don't pay that, they'll start ruining your credit just like they ruined mine, those loans. So, they've got a fucking real awesome system figured out, don't they? They've got it fucking figured out to about a T now, and it's not good. Yeah, and that's what I think. I'm sure there's all kinds of other reasons why people are in there that shouldn't be in there, but mine goes back to thinking about marijuana people. People that are put in there for marijuana convictions, and it's like your life is ruined, and you're just a slave to the business, a slave to their profits, and you're just, it's free labor pretty much for them, and that's where we got a fucking big, we got a big fucking problem, and it's not gonna stop. it's growing. That's an industry that's growing, but we've pretty much maxed out our prisons. We don't got no place to put them. We got to start building more prisons because we're too full. We're at max fucking capacity. So what do we do? What do we do? I don't know. It's real interesting to see what's going to happen with all that. But keep your eyes out, to hear more stuff about it. You're going to hear a lot more about this, I bet, in the upcoming elections, about, our prisons being full and how it's a big business and how profits are being made off it and how we're going to change that. So with that being said, this is the RowdCAST 40 too, if anybody's wondering that. 40 episodes. We're 40 fucking episodes deep, man. When I started this, a little over a year ago, I never thought that I'd still be doing this. I did it as drunken ramblings and nonsense that I'd be talking late at night while I was drinking, and it turned into bringing friends on with me and talking with them and laughing with them, and it's turned into this. And I can't tell you, how proud I am of all the people that have stuck by me and still listen, all the fans that I have that tell me, and I go out and to a bar or out in the town or something, and I run into people and they just say, dude, we love your radio show, man. I listen to it all the time. It's keep doing it. And that's my motivation. And, like I said, I've had big plans, and we're almost there. We're right at almost at the tip of the iceberg. We have, I got the equipment coming, and now I got my actual studio. I'm sitting in it in my nice big old computer chair, chilling back, leather. Got all kinds of cool stuff around me, and I'm really going to start bringing some awesome people on here and bring them into the studio and bringing you some quality fucking shows. So stick with me. I hope to next time to get some more to Skype. I would love to have some people call in and talk, and hear some other people's voices and other people's words. There's other people out there that I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what bothers you and what you can add to the conversation, because that's how I like this. It's a party, and like I said, I love all my fans. I can't ask for any more, and keep spreading the word. Keep getting me out there, and I love y'all. You guys are the best. So I'm out of here. I'm going to go enjoy my Friday night. Just kick back, probably watch some movies or something, and drink a beer or two. And I will be back. I'm thinking probably Sunday night. I'm going to have a guest. I'll be back, and we'll have a good episode for you. It should be interesting. So we'll see you in a couple days with a new podcast. Like I said, keep jamming me. I love you all. You're the shit. Be good to one another. You know, that's what matters, and take care of the planet, because if this place goes, we're all done for. So, love you. I'm Rowdy Radloff. I'm signing off. Peace.